各位朋友，大家好啊！歡迎嚟到你賽馬天下嘅社交平台。咁啊，嚟緊星期六咧，香港賽馬會咧將會繼續咧有呢個越洋轉播嘅賽事啦。今次咧就係呢個女皇伊利沙伯錦標賽。咁我今日咧好高興啊，請到大家一位嘅老朋友啊，就係之前咧喺香港賽馬會擔任呢個英文嘅走位評述員嘅 Darren 咧嚟到做我哋嘅嘉賓喎。Hello
Darren。Hello
Ian。And I think it's very good for the Hong Kong racing fans to see you again because you're a Hong Kong citizen, right?
Yes, well, I'm a little concerned, Ian, that I haven't been to Hong Kong for 2.5 years. And if I can't get back there soon, I'm going to lose my citizenship.
So there's a reason that you have to come back to Hong Kong, maybe for the upcoming international races, then you can just like renew your citizenship.
Yes, well, hopefully by December, things will be more normal again and we'll be able to travel to Hong Kong. Fingers crossed.
Yes, I think you're quite lucky because since you returned to Australia, you have called so many big races and you have witnessed so many stars to born. So, for example, you called the Vince and also the Very Elegance and the latest Animal and also just like Hitotsu, right?
Yes, Hitotsu winning the Derby last Saturday was great, but yeah, I think clearly the success of Winx, what she did for Australian racing, she really brought the big crowds back, capacity crowds, and it was this day 3 years ago now that it was her final race start in the Queen Elizabeth Stakes, and she went out a winner in front of a crowd of about 42,000. Now, that's as many people as you can possibly get into the Royal Randwick Racecourse. And it was one of the most amazing atmospheres you could imagine. The scenes after she won and Hugh Bowman took her all the way down to the end of the public section and then back. The crowd were just cheering and cheering. And they treated her like a rock star that day.
Yeah, I can say that you are actually the witness of all the famous star race horses, because when you are in Hong Kong, you are calling Silent Witness for his continuous winning string, and when you go back to Vince, you're seeing Vince how she impressively winning all the big races in Australia.
Yes, I have been lucky in Australia that there's been so many good ones to call since I've arrived, and I saw so many champions in Hong Kong. I guess none better than Silent Witness, but still one of my Hong Kong favourites. I know he wasn't the greatest horse overall, but he was my favourite, Able Friend.
Yeah. Everyone think that lots of people still love Able Friend when he just like won the Hong Kong Mile in the sensational fashion. That is amazing. So let's go to the races on Saturday. So last week we have so many big races at Randwick as well. So it's the first day of the championship. On Saturday will be the second day, day 2 of the championship. So we are starting in Hong Kong. We are starting from race 4, but actually that one is a Group 2 race for the 2-year-olds. So we are going to miss it because it's not too. It's a good race, but I think there will be Hong Kong punters will love to know more about the following races. So shall we start in race 5? That means the Arrowfield 3-year sprint.
Yes, I'm very keen that Marzu will be winning race 5 on the program. Marzu is a gelding now, and it's the best decision they made. It's improved his temperament incredibly well, and tomorrow he'll be looking to make it 5 wins in a row, but 4 out of 4 this preparation. Sam Clipperton has got a marvellous association with him, and more importantly, he loves the heavy going, and he loves the soft going as well. Now, we should point out that Randwick is going to be very, very heavy on Saturday. It's been raining all Wednesday night. It's been raining all day Thursday. And yes, so just be focused on that. When you are having bets at Randwick, just look for the heavy track form, and Marzu's got that. And I think he will win the Arrowfield Sprint.
Yeah, I think that actually the progeny from the Maurice is flying in Australia. They're doing well in Japan, but you look at Hitotsu and also Marju, the forms of him, this campaign has been very impressive.
Yes, I've been very impressed with his stock. Morris, I remember seeing him in Hong Kong when he won the The mile there.
Group
Yeah, I was there for a holiday that time. But I remember seeing Morris came down the chute at Sha Tin, and I just stopped and thought, wow, have a look at this horse. He was so big and so strong. And so it's good to see that he's been a success as a sire all around the world.
Yeah, I think it's very important because Maurice, the progeny of him is not early mature type, but he can just like keep improving. Look at Maurice himself. He is a champion at 4 and at 5 years old. And his progeny is just like getting more mature blossoms when they're turning 3. So we can expect more improvement from his horses when they are getting more mature.
Yeah, well, the problem with this horse before they gelded him, he was a bit crazy and would get really hot, agitated, and they said he was very difficult to deal with. But now he's just a complete gentleman.
Yes. So there's a horse that is Hong Kong people will know him quite well, is the number 1 in the Congo. So actually he has been very consistent in his races. How do you feel his preparation this time?
He's only just late coming into his preparation. He's had just the 1 start. I think there has been some problems there, and he ran really well in the Group 1 Galaxy, and that was on a heavy 9. So that's good to know that he's handled the heavy conditions okay. I just worry about the fact that he's only had that 1 run this preparation, and all of the other horses in this are fully fit. And under the very heavy conditions likely there on Saturday, I think you're going to need a very fit horse to win. That's why I'm very keen on Marzu.
So how about the Kerry Mars horse? He has 2 runners in this race. I would say, is it Marine One is better than Generation?
Probably Generation is considered a better chance, but I don't really think the Melbourne horses are winning chances. The horses there with Kiramar, David Eustace, so that's Marine One, Generation. We've got General Bow there as well. I think it's a race just to focus on the Sydney horses in that race.
Yes. Okay. So our conclusion would be in the Aerophil 3 sprint, then Marju would be the outstanding chance in winning this race, right?
Yes, win only.
Yes, that's good. Save some money for the next few races.
Yes.
好啦，嚟到第5場賽事啊，其實呢場王字錦標3歲馬嘅短途賽咧，我同 Darren 嘅心水咧就係呢隻6號馬嚟自滿諾時嘅 Marju 啊。咁其實呢一隻馬咧，今次咧嘅近績非常之好啦，連贏好多場啦，連贏咗4場賽事，今次咧將會爭取第5場嘅勝利啦。同埋其實呢一隻馬早前已經證明過咧喺呢個爛地嘅實力啊。咁啊 Darren 都提過大家啦，咁啊嚟緊嘅星期6嘅賽事咧，南域馬場咧將會繼續喺大爛地度進行啊，因為咧禮拜3咧連場落雨咧，咁佢嗰個去水都唔係咁理想，所以咧嚟緊星期6嘅賽事咧，大家都應該咧要揀翻一啲咧大爛地特價嘅馬先係好啲啊。Okay, so let's move to the Australian Oaks. So it's a race that wins haven't won.
Yes, you got beaten in this race by gust of wind. And so Joe Moreira was the last jockey to lose on Winx.
Yes. Yes. So this time, we all know that Chris Fuller has assigned a very good horse in this race called Hinged because he's a Group 1 winning horse. But there's a concern. Can she handle 2,400 meters? Can she handle the heavy ground? So I doubt it.
The heavy ground is no problem. She will handle that. Whether she runs 2,400 meters, that is a big question mark. I'm not sure, but she has the advantage. She showed at a last start in the Vinery Stud Stakes, which was relocated to Newcastle, that she's very tough and she can race in a more forward position. Brenton Abdullah put her right up on the speed. And when the winner got to her fangirl, Hinge just kept fighting. So I think she will stay 2,400 metres and the heavy track's not an issue. So she is one of the top chances in the race.
Wow. And also the owners has been very lucky since they have yes, and then they just keep winning big races in Australia, in Sydney and Melbourne as well.
Well, that's right. She's already a Group 1 winner, hinged, having won the Surround Stakes on a heavy 10, 3 starts back. And, of course, ran third in the Coolmore over the 1,500 metres, which was probably the distance was just a little bit sharp for her. But, yes, you're right. These colours have had a lot of success.
Yeah. So I think in this race, the main danger for her would be number 2, Gypsy Goddess, and also the latest winner of Honey Creeper. Do you agree?
Honey Creeper is very hard to beat. Her win last Saturday was terrific. She hadn't raced for 6 weeks. They sent her down to Tasmania and she ran a third in the Tasmanian Oaks as a short price favourite. So there were 6 weeks between that run and last Saturday at Randwick. And she just sat back in the field and she just picked them up in the straight. And Bowman hardly had to do anything. It was a sit and steer. And she just rounded them up and won comfortably by 3 lengths. She would be fitter. She would definitely stay the trip. And she proved there last Saturday she can handle a heavy track as well. I think there's only 2 chances in the race. The first one we spoke about, Hinged and Honey Creeper, and nothing else a winning chance.
Wow. So it's very good that we can put it just to Quinella, and then that's it. Yes.
And I guess if you're taking trifecta, probably Gypsy Goddess looks the most likely to run the third. And Pink Ivory, number 9. A lot of people are talking about her.
Yeah, it's a horse that I want to mention as well because she is lightly raced. John Sargent is a master in training staying mare, and also James McDonald is riding. So actually, we have picked the 4 jockeys who are in top form as well.
Yes, I agree completely there. John Sargent, we have certain trainers that specialise in certain races or certain distances, and John Sargent is the best with a 3-year-old filly to go over a distance.
Yeah, she's meant for the Felix.
Yes.
Okay, so嚟到第6場嘅賽事啊，咁香港咧就 S1 第3場啦，就係呢個澳洲橡樹大賽啊。其實咧，我同 Darren 好似睇完呢場賽事之後咧，哇，發覺咧呢場馬咧都好似冇乜馬跑咁啊。咁啊，當然咧，其實牌面最高咧就係呢隻1號馬嘅 Hinge 啊。咁呢一隻馬已經係貴為呢個咧1級賽嘅民主環繞錦標啦。問題就係究竟佢可唔可以應付到2400米嘅呢個路程啊？咁啊，其實Darren 頭先講過啦，佢上一場嘅賽事咧，其實咧嘅騎師咧，咁啊特登係將佢擺喺更前面去走啦。咁啊末段其實佢個扣女咧 Fangirl 咧一路挑戰佢啊，但係佢咧最終喺嗰場葡萄場育馬園嘅2000米賽事嘅1級賽裏面咧，即係負隅頑抗啦，最終僅輸㗎。以佢嘅跑法同埋嗰場嘅賽績咧，相信呢隻1號嘅 Hinge 啦都有機會咧係可以應付到2400米㗎。咁同埋其實佢個馬主咧就非常之幸運嘅，咁啊近期買嗰啲馬咧全部都贏大賽嘅。又睇下我哋今次有冇機會喺香港咧見到呢隻 Hinge 咧贏到呢場橡樹大賽啦。不過最強對手咧，其實咧喺我哋嘅心目中咧，當然咧就係4號呢隻 Honey Creeper 啊。咁呢一隻馬其實成個嘅準備功夫可以話非常之完整㗎。咁啊，之前去過塔斯曼尼亞參加呢個橡樹大賽跑得好啦，跟住咧前後有成6個禮拜嘅休息啦。咁啊，上場賽事其實咧話以佢嗰個風捲殘雲嘅後勁咧贏到呢個羅克斯錦標啊。咁啊，其實羅克斯錦標咧不嬲咧都係呢一場橡樹大賽嘅最好嘅指標賽事啊。以佢嘅贏馬姿態咧，相信呢一隻咧4號馬嘅 Honey Creeper 啦，都係今場嘅真正分子嚟㗎。再揀如果三重彩配腳咧，就係2號嘅 Gypsy Goddess 啦，同埋9號啊嚟自實爾神訓練嘅 Pink Ivory 啊。咁啊呢一隻馬都係咧嚟自呢個長途血統啦，同埋由呢個麥杜朗策，其實都係有機會㗎。It seems that the first 2 races that we discussed actually is quite easy because there's some outstanding chances.
It does get a little bit tougher from here.
Yes, is what I want to say is because we are going to mention about the Sydney Cup. Actually, I still remember in the last 2-3 years, the Sydney Cup has been caused a lot of surprises. All the launchers came to win. They come from nowhere because the track, and then they can lead all the way under big odds. This year, do you think there will be a case as well?
I wouldn't be surprised. There's quite a few horses in this that I think are winning chances, and they're sort of odds of say $8 or better. And Chris Waller has so many chances in the race.
Yes.
He's got 5 runners, and they're all winning chances.
Yeah.
Stockman is the favourite, and he is probably the best wet tracker in the race, and he's been set for this. Very, very good record on heavy, but he's never run over 2 miles before. But he gives the impression that he'll stay it, but you never know. He could be another favourite to get beaten, and we're talking about after the race, he just didn't stay the distance.
Because last week in the champions quality, we can't imagine that all the Hong Kong people are cheering for the favourites, and they even cannot finish in the top 4. So that's why it's a race very difficult to predict.
Yes, I find that's the case. We don't have a lot of good class stayers in Sydney, so those races can be very tricky.
Yeah, but there's a horse that I would like to mention is Queen's Horse, because she just like bypassed the quality, champions quality. And do you think he is just like mainly focusing on this trip? Is it because of the track that he withdrew last week? You are mentioning that they are going to face the same track, red track again, so there will be a chance that he is going to withdraw again.
I was a little surprised that they did scratch last Saturday with Chalk Stream, because he looked like he would win that race. So in this, I think he's got a definite chance. He improved so much from his first start on February 26. He was pretty well beaten, and I thought, well, Chalk Stream is no hope in the Sydney Cup. But then when he ran 1 month later over 2,400 metres at Rose Hill, I think he was the best run in the race. He drew wide, he worked, he was sort of 3 wide and going forward basically the whole race. And just when you thought he'd probably weaken out, he kept fighting to the line. So with 50 kilos on his back, raced by Her Majesty the Queen there, she may well be a Sydney Cup winner. Looking at the prices, 8.5 is the price about Chalk Stream at the moment. So I think that's reasonable.
Yes. And also the stablemate, actually Chris Waller, I think he is going to win this race, but we're not sure which horse is going to win. So from the forms, I would say the Surefire actually is quite good from his European form, and then he still can perform in Australia in such a short period of time. It seems that he is quite a talented horses in staying races.
Yes, well, he was a winner at Royal Ascot last year over 2,400 metres Surefire, and it's quite amazing. His first run in Sydney was over 2,000 metres, and he had 2 barrier trials, but he didn't do much. You sort of looked at the trial and thought, oh, this horse isn't ready yet. But on race day, he was just too classy for them, off that rating, too good. And then gave away a big start in the Queen's Cup last time and wound up running second behind No Compromise. Now, No Compromise is an interesting horse because it always gets right out the back, giving away a big start and running home at the end. Well, last time, No Compromise actually came out of the gates and was in the first 4 positions. So Jockey J Ford went forward and led, which we'd never seen No Compromise do before. And once No Compromise led, they just couldn't pick him up. So I think Surefire's run to finish second that day was very good.
Yeah. So it seems like we can just like focusing on Chris Waller's horses to compete against with Stockman would be our strategy, or because New Zealand horses has been performing quite well in this race. So there's a horse that actually the form has been really, really well. It's the number 2, Dai Chen Sweet Jr. So do you think he's up to this class?
Could well be. He's got a very good strike rate. He's only had 17 starts and has won 7 of them. And at least he's coming to this race at the right time, because he won the Adelaide Cup only a few weeks ago over this distance of 3,200 metres. So we know he can run it, the number 2 horse there. So definite chance. Number 1, the chosen one, trained by Murray Baker and Andrew Forsman. Now, Murray's about to retire. So can Murray go out with one last Group 1 winner? There's many chances.
Yeah, because the chosen one actually this time is quite special. We know that he's a very good staying horse, but his first Group 1 win was over a mile. And then he just like keep performing well at the highest level. So we cannot just like always underestimate this horse because he has been racing consistently at the Melbourne Cup, finishing 4th, 5th. But then when he returned back to Sydney Cup, actually he's quite classy among this field, right?
Probably the biggest problem for the chosen one, although he's a New Zealand horse, he doesn't really seem to be at his best on soft ground.
Yeah. So that means that if the track's too wet, then may not an advantage for him.
Yeah, I think that could be a big problem.
Okay.
And the track will definitely be heavy on Saturday.
Yeah, because originally I always think that because New Zealand, the track has been always wet and heavy, so the New Zealand horses should be well handled in Sydney. But this is not the case always, right?
With most New Zealand horses, yes. But I'm just looking at the chosen one. He's had 15 runs on soft or heavy, and he hasn't been able to win any of them. There's some placings there, but all his 7 wins have been on a good rated track.
Yeah. So in our prediction, I think because this time, I think Angel of Truth and maybe the No Compromise will take the lead. So this race will have pace. In this case, is it better for Surefire and or Trust Stream, the racing pattern, you think?
I think Chalk Stream can sit closer in the run. I think Chalk Stream will probably be in the top 4. Don't expect No Compromise to be leading again because I think that was a one-off. He just sort of jumped out of the gates and the jockey took the opportunity, but there's a strong chance he'll be well back in the second half of the field again. It's hard to do a good speed map on this race because there isn't a great deal of pace. The one you mentioned to start with, Angel of Truth, it really does look the leader. And Knight's Order is the other one, number 3. It's very much an on-pace runner. So 3 and 6, pace should be okay.
Yeah. So in our conclusion, what's your pick in this race?
I go Surefire and Chalk Stream as the 2 main chances.
Okay.
QP.
OK， 好啦，嚟到呢個咧就係第7場啦，澳洲當地啊，不過香港咧就 S1 第4場咧就係悉尼杯啊，我哋都覺得呢一場賽事係最令人頭痛啊！咁啊，事關上個星期舉行嘅主席讓賽裏面咧，大家都知道啊，嗰啲熱門咧全部咧四格不入㗎，咁啊可以知道咧，其實而家澳洲長途馬壇咧，其實咧有少少人才凋零嘅情況啦，咁啊所以咧經常會有出現一啲咧爆大冷嘅情況嘅。咁啊今場賽事咧，其實華禮納咧而家咧就有5隻馬仲係列陣嘅，5隻馬咧都係有機會係爭勝嘅喎。不過比較之下咧，好似11號啊呢一隻咧就係必紅啦，同埋13號啊由呢個英女王擁有嘅 Trust Stream 咧都係有啲機會㗎。咁其實上星期咧咁啊 Trust Stream 咧就退出咗嘅，因為就唔知咩原因啦。今場賽事其實咧會唔會真係留一留嚟咧主力係跑呢一場咧？咁啊大家可以留意下啦。咁啊其實我哋都覺得咧，如果上星期跑咧機會咧都係非常之高嘅。又睇下今場賽事 match 呢個50 kilo 有冇機會啦。Surefire 咧其實見到佢啦喺歐洲嘅賽績同埋喺澳洲嘅表現咧都非常之好啊！咁喺短時間內咧都非常之進步啦，應該咧係呢場賽事嘅爭標分子嚟嘅。咁啊其他即係嘅賽區方面啦，4號啊呢個咧管理力牧場咧。喺呢個爛地咧，應該係全組馬裏面咧最好咁滯嘅啦。咁啊，今場賽事其實佢個備戰功夫亦都好啦，咁睇下有冇機會可以跑得好啦。1號其實咧呢個咧精心挑選咧，不嬲都有級數嘅，但係咧原來翻查記錄去遠地咧或以上嘅賽事係從來未贏過嘅。咁啊，今場賽事咧，如果喺大爛地上進行咧，大家留意下。所以今場咧，我哋咧就有13號啦、11號啦。如果要揀嘅咧，可以留意埋咧，就係呢個4號 Stockman 啦。如果我心水啊冷門咧，我會留意埋咧呢隻1號嘅精心挑選啦，同埋呢隻8號嘅 No Compromise 嘅。 Oh, so let's move to the theme race, the highlight race. So Queen Elizabeth Stakes. Everyone is focusing on Very Elegant, but she never won this race because in the last two editions she was beaten by Adayat. So this year's, do you think it would be her last race?
No, I don't think so. Unless she was to perform poorly. Her last run was far from her best. She was beaten by Montefilia in the Group 1 Roundford at Rose Hill, and Montefilia beat her fairly and squarely. But she's come off defeats before and bounces back. And you've got to have faith that Chris Waller is just so good at getting these horses on the big day, the day when it counts. We saw that last week with Nature Strip. He went into the race off a bad defeat at his previous start, and he tailed them up last week. So I very much respect Very Elegant. I mean, there was some talk they would take her to Europe. I'm not sure if that's still on the table, but we'll just wait and see how she goes tomorrow. She is the favourite at around 2.9, but this is one of the strongest editions of this race I have seen. Last year, it was a two-horse race really between her and a day, and a day was too strong. But this is a very, very good field this year.
Yes. It seems that the fillies dominate the Australian staying races. So this year we see Very Elegance and also Montefilia. But Animal, there's a lot of talks about him. He got fever last week, but he seems okay because he doesn't miss any track works. So it seems just a minor setback. From his run in the Rose Hill Guineas, that actually he's the best 3-0 in town, over 2,000 meters. So coming back on the same distance, that if he produced that winning form, then he is hard to beat. Do you agree?
Well, he's the most exciting 3-year-old in the country, and this is the race that they've been targeting him for during the whole carnival. So he's one of those many chances in the race. It was so impressive winning the Rose Hill Guineas. The times of the race weren't great. I know he won by about 7 lengths at the end, and it was, look at him. But the times weren't special. So we must remember that. But he handled the heavy track well. He definitely stays the distance at 2,000 metres, and he's peaking at the right time. But you mentioned Montefilia. Well, if Very Elegant's the favourite at 2.9, you've got to respect Montefilia because Montefilia beat her with no excuses.
Yes.
But there's a very, very promising mare coming through, number 7, Duis. Is trained by Ed Cummings. Now, he's the brother of James Cummings and the grandson of the great Bart Cummings. Now, Duis, she may well be our next superstar here. Her win at Newcastle in the Tancred Stakes, and when you're looking at the form and you see Newcastle, that was owing to the fact that Rose Hill got washed out 2 weeks ago and they had to transfer that meeting to the provincial track. Her win was outstanding in the Tancred. She sat back last, she pulled out at the top of the straight, and in the space of 50 metres, she went from last to first and just ran right away from her rivals. She looks very, very exciting. She did the same thing in Melbourne when she won the Australian Cup. And I'm going to tip her on Saturday because I think she's going to be the next big thing in Sydney racing, Duis number 7.
Yes, actually, this race weekend, we are quite exciting to see 2 mares. So in 7 Duis and also Montefilia. So both mares actually improved a lot since their run in I think last October, I bet them in the Caulfield Cup. So they didn't perform well, but over the past 6 months, she just kept improving. So now became one of the main dangers in this race. Oh, I agree with you that actually this race, because they are fillies, they can take 2 kilos and as well. So they can take 2 kilos in the weight and the form as well. So that would be quite happy to have number 6, number 7, and number 8 for Quinella.
I think that's a Yeah, a very good chance. We haven't spoken about another horse in the race, but if this was on dry ground, I'd probably be tipping number 2, Zaki. He's one of the most exciting male horses on the scene here, and Zaki's win in the All-Star Mile was terrific, and a lot of the horses that he beat that day in that race have all come out and run well since, including I'm Thunderstruck. But he doesn't have much, well, he has no experience on a heavy track. He's gone okay on a soft track. Yeah. And I think for the fact the unknown is there about him on a heavy, his price will be okay, and he might be better than them. That's why I can see 5 serious winning chances in the race. That's why I believe this is one of the best editions of the Queen Elizabeth I've seen since I moved from Hong Kong back to Sydney, because normally it's just 2 chances, maybe 3, but there is so much depth to this field on Saturday.
And also it's good for Australian racing because this time is no overseas visitors for this race, and you guys definitely can keep this race at home. But it's also excited to see 2 rising star mares coming up, maybe going to take over from Very Elegant. So just like continue the dominations in the middle distance category.
Yes, well, who knows in time, a horse like Zaki or a horse like Duis, maybe even Montefilia, could be horses you could possibly see in Hong Kong in December.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so only 9 horses in this race, but we think there would be 5 winning chances. So, but in our opinion, that number 7, Duis, will be the most exciting prospect in this race, and she has the potential to be the next superstar in Australia. So let's go for this lucky 7 in this race.
Yes, her price today is 6.5, so I think that's very good value.
Yes. 好啦，嚟到第8場啦，就係呢個主題賽事，即係 S1第5場咧，就係女王伊麗莎白錦標啊。今年咧呢場賽事咧，可以話係近幾年以嚟咧實力最強、最平均嘅一屆啊。因為9匹參戰馬之中咧，當中有5匹咧都有機會係勝出嘅，當中咧就包括呢個2號嘅呢個啦。就係品德高尚啦，啱啱贏完全明星優利賽啦。另外9號愛禮物啦，呢隻咧升級3歲馬啦，仲有3匹嘅升級嘅黐馬當中咧，包括6號嘅雍容爾雅啦、7號獲獎無數同埋呢個8號嘅山間善女啊。咁啊，其實咧每一隻馬都係有優點啦，同時亦都有少少嘅缺點嘅。咁啊其實品德高尚咧近績非常之好，級數亦都係高，評分亦都係最高嘅之一。不過咧佢未有太多嘅大爛地嘅支持啊。如果呢一隻馬支持即係可以跑呢個爛地嘅話咧，當然咧係呢場嘅真勝分子，因為呢隻馬咧真係表現穩定同埋有級數啊。咁啊，其實雍容爾雅上場賽事咧喺一個冇藉口之下係落敗嘅。咁啊，但係咧其實華禮納咧好多時候咧都會將一啲大賽時候咧，將佢嗰啲旗下馬匹推向最高峰嘅。之前可能熱身賽咧表現差啲咧，但係都未必係真嘅。好似上個禮拜綠化帶咁樣啦，之前嗰2場咧完全一注賽咁樣，到正本戲嘅時候都係跑得好嘅。雍容爾雅嘅情況都可能係咁樣。不過其實今場賽事佢將會面對咧2隻咧係即係進步緊嘅升級黐馬咧，就係呢隻7號嘅獲獎無數同埋8號嘅山間善女啊。咁呢2隻馬都係咧近績好啦，亦都咧尤其是獲獎無數啊，之前以一個無敵嘅姿態咧擊敗呢個雍容爾雅。Darren 都覺得呢一隻馬咧極有機會咧成為下一匹咧澳洲嘅馬後級分子嚟㗎。咁啊當然啦，愛禮物。上場贏玫瑰剛堅尼非常之好啦，始終呢一隻馬之前有發燒啊，咁啊唔知佢咧體力上啊或者會唔會受到影響。不過如果係本身交翻佢最高嘅水準，之前佢喺爛地嘅成績咁好咧，咁啊今場賽事都仍然要啦。唯一擔心上場贏玫瑰剛堅尼咧時間唔算太過出色嘅，咁啊唔好因為佢大勝7個馬位咧而過度高估嗰場賽事啊。所以我哋呢一場咧都係以呢個7號啊獲獎無數咧係作為一個重心啊。Okay, let's move to the race 9. It's the last Group 1 of the day, so it's the Queen of the Turf Stakes. This race also attract a full field to compete. And it's another race that is very difficult to talk because originally I like Ice Bath, but I'm afraid that she already performed the best in the Doncaster Mile. So we see 2 horses that there's an unbeaten in number 14, Yons, And also there's a very horse that who beat very nice horse in 15, Fangirl. So there's a very difficult race.
There are many chances with Yonch. She's never raced on a heavy track. 5 out of 5 on a good, 1 for 1 on a soft. But similar crew to Hototsu, winning the Derby last Saturday. The same colours. Fangirl. Now she's a risk. She won't handle the heavy track. In fact, they might not even run her on a heavy track. She's a last start winner, but that was a soft 6 that day at Newcastle, and that was fine for her. She liked that, but we've seen her twice now in very heavy going, and she just doesn't get through it well. So I couldn't be tipping you into number 15. I think the top one, Colette, is really the one to focus on. She's the best wet tracker in the race, and she came back to some really good form last time when running second to Forbidden Love in the George Ryder over 1,500 metres, a similar distance. She's got a good record. She won the Oaks a few years ago, Colette. And if you're looking for one that will handle the wet track fine, and I think with James McDonald sticking with her as well, James rode her last time and he wants to be aboard on Saturday, that's a pretty strong tip.
Yeah. What do you think about number 5, Hungry Hearts? His last run seems quite good. We know that her last preparation is not up to our expectation, but it seems like she come back a better horse this time.
No chance. Hates the wet.
Really? Thank you. So it seems like it's a one-horse race. So Colette is going to be the dominating winner, is it?
Well, there are other chances in the race. I think number 2, Lighthouse, is going well.
Yeah. But her Doncaster Mile 1 is a bit disappointing, huh?
She drew very poorly, and she had a little setback, and she had to keep undergoing vets examinations in the day leading up to the race. There was an issue on her hoof, so perhaps they weren't able to work her as much as they would have liked as well. So she could be a good roughie to include in your QPs, Lighthouse.
Yeah.
Ice Bath, always a place chance. Promise of Success is going really well.
Yeah.
She's a mare on the improve, very lightly raced, and really appreciates the wet tracks. Promise of Success. That's number 7.
Yeah.
And I think that's it as far as the chances are concerned.
Okay. What do you think about number 9, Anavisto?
Oh, raced very fiercely at Newcastle at her first run here in Sydney.
Yeah. Unknown
on heavy. No, not keen.
Okay. Cool. So in this year's Queens of the Turf Stakes, that it seems like Godolphin is holding the half cup, because Colette is going to be a very standout horse, but she is going to compete against with Lighthouse that hopefully can turn the tables of the poor one in the Doncaster Mile. And also Ibach always compete against at the highest level and very consistent. The main danger to them would be number 7, Promise of Success, who handled the wet track so well, and the form has been very good as well, right?
Yes, I have to agree with that. So yes, just be very careful with Fangirl, number 15, and number 5, Hungry Heart. They're both good horses, but they hate the wet.
Yeah. Okay. 好啦，嚟到呢個 S1 第6場賽事嘅草上女王錦標咧，今場咧好明顯咧就好似咧係花都教主天下咁啊！咁啊，雖然其實同場裡面咧，大家會留意住14號咧就係 Yons 呢一隻咧從來未輸過嘅馬啦，同埋15號 Fangirl 啊就係呢一匹嘅升級嘅黐馬，亦都喺呢一級賽多次跑到表現嘅。但係因為咧 Fangirl 咧從來未喺呢個爛地上交到表現啦，好有機會咧跑嗰時會退出嘅，咁所以大家呢一隻就唔使多理啦。Yons 始終未跑過呢個爛地啦，咁啊今次面對呢啲一級嘅黐馬咧，都係難度非常之高。咁啊，反而其實花都教主啦，早就視呢場賽事為主要目標啦。咁亦都見到佢咧近績亦都係非常之好，上場咧已經由麥道朗策騎，今次繼續騎翻咧，咁啊可見佢咧即係都有啲 心裏面有啲份量啊。咁啊，對手方面2號嘅引航燈塔啦，上場賽事喺呢個唐加士打1哩賽道輸咗啦。不過其實佢嗰個可能個健康情況咧唔算咁穩定，因為賽前咧都曾經受過獸醫檢查啦，咁可能咧跑落去咧就真係唔係咁理想，狀態未算係最好嘅。但係短短1星期內咧肯跑呢一場賽事，證明即係健康無礙啦。如果加翻佢本身嘅水準，爛地聖人特價呢一隻咧引航燈塔可以咧就贏翻場㗎。咁啊當然啦，3號呢個冰火玉啦，咁啊次次都喺呢啲賽事度咧跑到位置嘅，咁亦都唔可以掉以輕心啊。仲有一隻就係7號買嘅 Promise of Success， 亦都係呢場賽事嘅冷門嚟㗎。咁啊近績好，爛地街，再加埋布文咧，大家都可以留意下。So Darren, so we have talked all about the Group 1 races on Saturday. So can you tell us what's your best bet of the day? So any races starting from the race 4 in Sydney?
I'll go with Mazu. So race 2, number 6, Dai Chang, look hole.
第2場落後 Mazu.
Yes.
Yes. Actually, I think it's very good because we can do all up. So in the 3 sprint, we like Maju. I think in the Australian Oaks, we think that it's a Hinge versus Honey Creeper. And also maybe in the to play safe that we can pick in the Queen of the Turf, we pick number 1, Colette. So 3 cross 1 all up for Saturday. That would be nice.
Yes, that sounds like a good bet.
Okay, so thank you very much, Darren, for your time, and hope you enjoy the races again on Saturday, and hopefully can see you soon in Hong Kong, maybe in Australia.
Yes, hopefully back to Hong Kong in December for the big meeting there. But